Welcome to the Pelican Brief with your host, David Tatman.
Welcome to the Pelican Brief. I'm your host, David Tatman. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, it's another season of the Pelican Brief, and it's another regular session of the Louisiana Legislature. We're underway in Baton Rouge. The governor kicked off the 2025 regular session of the Louisiana Legislature with a State of the State address to the members of the House, the Senate, and key administration officials. And so what's going to happen? Well, I will tell you this. I think if you asked people across the state, what are the three biggest issues that are impacting Louisiana citizens, they would say insurance is number one, insurance is number two, and insurance is number three. There's lots of other things going on, but that is the sort of theme of this session, if you will. Now, remember, it is a fiscal session, so it's supposed to primarily be focused on fiscal issues, but the reality of it is we all know that legislators get to file up to 5 bills of general jurisdiction, so there are so many non-fiscal issues being discussed. In fact, there can be as many as over 700 non-fiscal bills. So that just tells you that there's going to be a lot of issues that are not fiscal in nature. So we know that one of the things that happened recently was the failure of the constitutional amendments that were at the heart of Governor Jeff Landry and Secretary of Revenue Richard Nelson's dream to open up Article 7 of the Constitution. It failed overwhelmingly during the most recent vote, and so from that perspective, that issue will have to go back to the drawing boards. There is an expectation that we will see a similar bill that will take out some of the more offensive parts of that legislation and leave in the parts that the governor and the head of the Department of Revenue need to move forward. But let's go through some of the other issues that are being discussed in Baton Rouge or now that we're underway during the legislative session are going to be discussed. So one of the things that you may have heard a lot about recently is an overhauling of the Department of Transportation and Development, the DOTD, Department of Transportation and Development. This is, I think, part of the conversations that have been had on with the Louisiana versions of DOGE to go in and to try to cut waste. You're going to see a lot of efforts that we're told less about getting rid of employees and about streamlining procedures and policies to help us with the delivery of transportation improvements, transportation rehabilitation. Representative Ryan Boriak is going to be handling a lot of that bill, of those bills dealing with transportation, and they're calling it DOTD reform. It is one of the top priorities of the governor. Another issue you're going to hear a lot about is, you're hearing it at the national level, which is Make America Healthy Again. MAHA, I guess it's like based off of the MAGA, so instead of MAGA, it's MAHA. And this is, you've seen a lot of the issues being discussed by the Department of Health and Human Services Secretary Robert Kennedy. This is taking preservatives out of food, things of that sort. Well, there is a bill, it's by Senator Patrick McMath of Covington. It's called, it's a sweeping nutrition bill that would do things like ban the purchases of soft drinks for SNAP beneficiaries, and also the use of ultra-processed foods, even parts of it that would say that a restaurant would have to tell you if they use seed oils to cook anything that they're serving you. It's going to be a big uphill battle, but it is something that you're going to see a lot about. During this session that we talked about with being a fiscal session, we're going to see a lot of changes. We had the whole constitutional amendment. We had the reduction in personal income taxes. We had the massive increase, a 20% increase in the state sales tax. So you're going to see some other bills dealing with additional professional services to try to generate more dollars. There's still a lot of work to be done because the structure of Constitutional Amendment number 2, which failed, all of them failed, but that one in particular is going to take a great deal of work. So another high-profile issue is going to be education. The governor, in his opening address, stated that he was going to give teachers a permanent pay raise. So we're going to see how that rolls out, whether or not he can get that in the budget. I don't see this legislature going home without giving teachers a pay raise, not a stipend, but a pay raise. Now, it may not actually be an increase in their income, but it would be a pay raise. And so therefore, all future raises would be based on that. That costs about $200 million, $194 million, when it, $1 million here, $1 million there, who's counting. So I think you'll see that happen. How that's going to happen, how they're going to come up with the $200 million, whether they're going to do it through cuts or whether they're going to do it through additional revenues. I think that that's coming. Another major education initiative, the LA Gator Scholarship Program, the taxpayer-funded school vouchers program, that allows individuals to use government dollars to pay for private schools and other educational expenses. Governor Landry wants to put around $100 million in that for the next budget year, which the current funding is about $44 million. Again, how are you going to have the money for it? We don't know, but we think that it's something that the governor is going to be pushing hard on. Now, another little sort of curveball that the state has received in their overall budgeting is the fact that they're going to lose somewhere near $100 million on federal grants eliminated by the Trump administration and their DOGE project. Which is going to absolutely affect the budget. So don't expect any of that to be changed. I think we're going to take that deficit, but we have to anticipate that as we go in and we're putting things together. So we will see how that works. The biggest issue, by far, I talked about it, and that is auto insurance rates. We did a little work on homeowners in the last session, and actually it has done some good. We're not seeing prices drop, but we're not seeing them increase, and so that's a good thing. And so there are dueling packages. So the governor has his package, and Commissioner Tim Temple has his package, and we will see whose package gets moved first and how that gets moved. I mean, Jeff Landry said he's tired of seeing Morris Bart's commercials, but he's also tired of seeing the Gecko commercials. So there are going to be bills that address both lawyer advertising and insurance industry advertising. The only thing that I would say is that in my 30-something years, 35 to 36 years of doing this, I believe that there have been, a dozen attempts on trying to limit lawyer advertising, and all of those attempts have come down as unconstitutional. The legislature's inability to regulate advertising is going to be a big issue. On the trial lawyer side, on the billboard lawyer side, I think that is going to be deemed unconstitutional unless they can come up with a very novel way to do it. On the auto rate side, the way that they want to try to regulate it is different and probably is not unconstitutional, and that is to say you can't use any of the advertising costs in the development of your premium analysis. And so that is going to be a big deal. There's going to be a bunch of other bills in the legislative session dealing with auto insurance. There is something called collateral source. I am going to call it medical transparency. It has to do with when you are in an accident and you whether the damages that you receive are from the amount billed by a healthcare provider or the amount paid. Are you making someone whole for the bill that they charged or the amount that the insurance company had to pay that healthcare provider? And that difference is usually pretty big. So there is a bill dealing with medical transparency. There's several of them, but the bill that seems to be taking off and will be heard very quickly in this process is a bill that would make that information admissible in a court. Right now, a defense lawyer, an insurance company lawyer, cannot submit what was billed in the lawsuit. They are actually not allowed to submit that. Brian Glorioso out of Slidell has a bill that would do just that, would allow the medical bills to actually be introduced into evidence. So we'll see how that goes. That will probably make a big difference. Another bill that both the governor and insurance commissioner are touting, even though they may be slightly different, is the cap on damages relative to the no pay, no play law. So right now, if you don't have insurance and you get into an accident, you are not able to collect pain and suffering damages on the first $15,000 of recovery. Why 15,000? Because that's where the minimum limits are. And so that's how they put it together. The governor has a bill that would make that 100,000. So an individual that gets into a car accident would not be able to collect pain and suffering if he or she did not have insurance coverage, if they were uninsured, for the first $100,000. Now, it doesn't affect the medical payments. If you're hurt in that car accident, you can actually still get your medical payments, but you wouldn't be able to collect pain and suffering. So, bad back, things of that sort. So there are a bunch of other bills that we are tracking on the insurance side. There's got to be some relief. We're the highest insurance in the nation on auto. We have outdated and disproportionate laws, and we're working very hard to try to get those in line with the rest of the country. So those are the major issues. You're going to see a bunch of bills on things like carbon sequestration, carbon capture. You'll hear it referred to. There are going to be bills that are dealing with things like fluoride in water systems, banning it. Just, a lot of kind of crazy bills that are out there. And you're going to see the legislature toil over and spend a lot of time on those bills that won't move the needle much on most people in Louisiana's life. But we're going to hear them anyway. So I would encourage all of you, our listeners, to use the state legislative website. If you go to Google and you type in a Louisiana Legislature, it is going to come up. The URL is www.legis.la.gov. You can watch committee meetings live. You can watch archived committees. You can read the text of all the bills. of all the amendments, you can really kind of dive in. And it also shows you for that day which legislative committees are going to be meeting. So tomorrow we'll have appropriations. We'll have a big day in civil law and procedure because that's where a lot of the auto insurance reform will be. Commerce will be meeting. Ways and Means will be meeting. And then over in the Senate, Revenue and Fiscal Affairs, Finance, and Judiciary A and C will also be meeting. And so if you want to look at those agendas, if you want to watch that online, then, please do. It's a great way to be involved. Reach out to your legislators, talk to them, let them know what's going on in your mind. And we will continue to try to communicate with you to let you know what's going on at the Louisiana State Capitol during this regular session of the Louisiana Legislature. You can find us on all of your major podcasts. We are the Pelican Brief. And you can also find us on social media. We're at the Pelican Brief 225 on social media. If you want to email us, you can email me, David, at thepelicanbrief.com. You can follow us. You can listen live, and if you have any feedback that you would like to give us, please do. We're always looking for good guests. We're looking for good conversation pieces. If you have a good take, we will mention it on the show. If you have a great take, you will be a guest on the show if you're so willing. We'll also have some special guest hosts. I'm going to invite our good friend and my often co-host, Joe Mapes, to come join me to talk about what's going on at the Capitol. We're also going to bring in some other veteran lobbyists and any legislators who would like to talk about their bills. Be sure to tune in. Please like, follow, subscribe, and share. And until next time, we are the Pelican Brief.
The Pelican Brief is an off-script production.